This is Movie and a Beer, a podcast based in Portland, Oregon, where you can share in our discussion about movies and what beers go best with them. From classic cinema to the latest blockbuster, we all can use a little help figuring out what beers to enjoy in the theater or at home. So listen in and explore with us the vast world of ales and lagers to pair up with your movie experience. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Dan Kapersky. I'm one of your many hosts here for Movie and a Beer. I'm your resident beer geek and homebrewer.
I'm also here. I'm Blake. I'm the movie geek.
And I'm Randall. I am just here for support and producing and photography and whatever else the hell I can do.
So all the other work.
All the other work passes through me.
So you're the behind the scenes guy, is that it?
Exactly.
Awesome. So this episode of Movie and a Beer will be tasting beers that go with movies you can binge over a weekend. Now, keep in mind that binging these movies, we don't necessarily recommend one right after the other, but if you choose to do that, good luck sleeping the next day.
And drink lots of water, please, for the love of God.
Hydrate. Hydration's key.
Also, the movies that we're going to talk about aren't exactly kid-friendly. I mean, if you're like my parents and just, explain, here's why this isn't real, and then to begin to watch, I can't even think of a great Saw. We didn't have Saw when I was a kid, but I could see Dad going, nah, it's not real. You're fine.
Great.
So yeah, maybe hold off on the kiddos for these ones.
Excellent. So we're going to go through the movies briefly, and then we'll talk about beers to drink with each of the movies. So the first one up we're going to talk about is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This is a Coen Brothers production. And as you know, the Coen Brothers have been making movies for quite a few decades. They've got some cult classics like The Big Lebowski, Fargo, and No Country for Old Men. They have a real distinct writing, producing, and direction style that is both fairly brash and really humanistic in some gory sort of way. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is an anthology of 6 short stories that don't actually intersect at any point in time, which is really interesting that they'd select this short story genre to compile a bunch of really interesting westerns. And most of them are based off a classic American western genre. They are about death in one way or another. And, in this one, who would pass up the opportunity to see the living legend Tom Waits perform? He is the prospector in one of the films. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs is broken down into, as I said, 6 short films. The first one is actually titled The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and it's about a singing cowboy. Imagine that. The cowboy does travel around. He does get in a few gunfights, which is interesting. And, of course, he ends up dead at the end. I don't want to plot spoil it, but pretty much everyone dies in the end in these, except for some of the characters that are important.
So like every Western ever.
Every Western ever. The girl, the wife, everybody dies in the end. Well, not really, but in speaking about the second film, Near Allegandes, that's a short story about a guy who's hard on his luck, gets arrested for robbery, is going to be hanged in a tree, and doesn't get hanged in a tree because Indians intercept him. And then he goes to town and gets hanged there. So it's really sad, but it's an interesting story nonetheless. The third film, the third section of the film is called Meal Ticket, and it's a short story about a snake oil salesman. It talks to the gullibility of people in the Old West, as well as the insensitivity of salesmen who want to take advantage of those that are less educated.
Oh, if only those poor people had Facebook. Oh, wait. That wouldn't help anything.
Yeah, not at that point in time. The fourth film is called The All Gold Canyon. And this is the one that is about a prospector in California, I believe. It does star Tom Waits as the main prospector, which is amazing. There is a younger actor that does come into the story and tries to, let's say, rob Mr. Waits of his gold that he discovers, and that doesn't quite go so well. So, interesting twist at the end of that one. The fifth one is called A Gal Who Got Rattled. And this one is quite depressing and quite the primary topic of most Western TV films and movies you've ever seen, where they're settlers, they have a ranch. They've built their home, and then the Indians come and try to kill them. Yikes. And unfortunately, that happens. But they actually don't die. The guy defends the family, but he's
nice.
Plot spoil. He tells the wife that she should kill herself instead of being taken prisoner. And of course, you can imagine that she doesn't know that he survived. And yeah, what a tragic twist at the end of that one.
Is there actually a rattlesnake in it? Is that why it has rattled, or it's just?
Well,
oh my god, she kills herself by snake. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we'll just leave it at that. We'll let you watch it and find out yourself.
I'll subscribe to Netflix.
And the last one of the group is called The Mortal Remains, and that one is really interesting. It's kind of if you have 5 strangers get on an Uber traveling to a town, what happens? You have complete strangers from different backgrounds that are interacting.
Oh, that's cool.
And the stagecoach and
a shared stagecoach.
You can imagine how random that story goes, and it's quite interesting. It has a funny ending as well.
Oh, nice.
I haven't actually seen these. I'm a big Coen Brothers fan, but
yeah, I need to see them because I like westerns and Coens.
Yeah, I think westerns is a great genre. I was watching No Country for Old Men actually recently that's on Netflix, and that's aged pretty well.
Nice.
13, what is it, 10 years, 12 years?
It's double digits, yeah.
Double digits.
Didn't they also do Oh Brother Where Art Thou, which isn't a western, but it has a westerny feel?
It's a southern, right? Mm-hmm. That's a thing? Is that the
old-timey southern?
Kind of. It's a musical question mark.
Great. So, highly recommend watching the film. It's, again, 6 sub-stories, which is nice. You can break.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to sit through it all in one sitting.
But I'd highly recommend watching each of them. They do provide a really interesting perspective on the Wild West, and not everything ends happy, but sometimes they do, and sometimes they're kind of hilarious.
That's such a Coen thing to do too. I love it. That's probably why.
The dark humor, bittersweet sort of.
Not like some people win, not everyone wins, and it feels real. Ish.
Right.
Yeah, I think their storytelling reflects reality more than not.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I need a few extra beers to watch some of their movies, because sometimes it's just too close to
a little bit.
Yeah, so I need to numb out a little bit after watching one.
Okay, so moving on to film number 2, Taxi Driver.
So good.
Which Classic. Is a great film. I believe all 3 of us here have seen the film. It does star Robert De Niro as a New York City cabbie. Martin Scorsese is the director, really well known, been around a long time, has made some interesting films. His films also tend to be pretty gritty, pretty rough around the edges, violent. This film, kind of a tragic love story, cabbie meets campaign worker, Sybil Shepherd, and one of her early career roles. Really well done, well acted. It has some interesting subplots, and of course, there's the Jodie Foster. I think this is one of her first movies that she did.
First movie,
her debut. Incredible acting job. Plays a young prostitute that, of course, they're trying to save. You guys have probably a good sense of justice that Scorsese tries to reflect in a lot of his films.
Yeah.
That there's human justice, and then there's justice. And I think he tries to ride that balance between the two. Because not only does justice not always happen, our justice system and police and things, they don't always work the way they're supposed to, but there's always a human justice and human factor that comes into play.
Yeah, I remember watching this. Oh God, I was I think I just got into college when I watched this movie, and I was still kind of understanding what film could be, and jaw was dropped. I was like, this is what. I've been watching movies my whole life. This is a film. This is crazy. I went to tell my parents about it, and they're yeah, we watched it years when it came out. What? I couldn't get over it.
I was born a few years after that film came out, and I was born in New York City. And so whenever I watched that film, I'm like, that's what it was like when I was born. I really get a sense. You get a sense of reality with Scorsese films that it's just really gritty and dirty, and all of his films are just so emotionally raw. And
you could see that stuff happening.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing unbelievable about it. Where the Coen Brothers, I feel like they take liberties with reality sometimes.
A little heightened.
Yeah, it's a little heightened, a little surreal at times. Mm-hmm. It's hard to tell what's real and what's not sometimes. You ever see that movie? What's that? Barton Fink? Is that? God, that
no, but I need to. It's one of the earlier ones, right?
Yeah, it's one of the earlier ones. So good. But yeah, Martin Scorsese. He was a part of the. What did they call that group of directors back in the 70s and 80s? It was Spielberg, Scorsese, Coppola, and Lucas. They all knew each other, and they're all part of the same club. And like, if you watch the early movies, they're just all so good. Like,
I don't
THX
remember.
1178.
Yeah,
that's amazing film. Like, before he made Star Wars, and then there was he made American Graffiti around the same time.
Yeah.
And then Spielberg, he had, what did he have around the same time? Probably Jaws was a few years later, but...
Jaws was 70s.
What was that movie about the car, about the guy...
Carrie?
Is that...
Did Spielberg do that?
No, I don't think Carrie. No, not that. I think I know what you're talking about, though.
Well, he also did Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
Third Kind.
Third kind. What was fourth? Oh, that was that awful Mila Jovovich movie.
Oh, no. Totally different movie.
Yeah, sorry, guys. No, that was also just blew my mind. Dreyfus just...
I think we could do an entire episode on just those, multiple episodes on the early work of those guys, and it would be very, very interesting.
So, highly recommend the film if you want to get a glimpse of New York back in the 70s.
De Niro acting his butt off.
Yeah, there's some really excellent acting, first-time appearances for, like, Jodie Foster, and just, some of the storytelling applies to today. How we treat each other as human beings, what's happening in society, how, cities can turn and not always be the best for people. All right, so third movie that we're going to discuss is Run, Lola, Run. This is a German film. You can find it subbed. It's available through most streaming services. You may be able to find it even with English dubs. This is a film that does some time warping. Well, retells the story a la Groundhog Day. It stars a criminal named Mani, who, of course, being the not-so-smart guy, leaves his loot on a train as he's traveling across town to make a delivery. And that's a lot of money, 100,000 mark back in the day. So this is pre-Euro. This is Germany from a few decades ago. This is then him calling his girlfriend Lola.
The titular Lola.
Yeah, so Lola spends the majority of the movie making decisions as she's running across town to talk to her father, who's a bank manager, to get the loan of the money so that her boyfriend doesn't get killed. The movie, again, replays itself, her running from point A to point B to get to her father. It's really interesting how one little decision can change the outcome and impact. Kind of like there's some interesting theories that are out there about reality and multiple universes and string theory, and every decision we make creates a different time stream. And that's kind of what the movie reflects on. Lola runs from one end of, well, not one end of the town, but she runs for about 20 minutes, and it's replayed a few times, and she really makes an interesting decision to try and not do the same thing over and over, or she decides to help or not help someone, and then that impacts the rest of the timing of her travels across the city.
I've never seen this movie, and I really want to now.
It's pretty good.
No one's ever described it to me, and this sounds amazing.
It's pretty good, but when you watch it now, you definitely feel like, oh yeah, that was a late 90s movie. Also, have you seen The Fifth Element?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to show you guys two pictures. One is a still from
Holy
Run,
cow.
Lola, Run.
Yep.
Okay. And this is from The Fifth Element.
It's the same person.
That's awesome.
You got Bruce Willis and Mila
Jovovich.
Jovovich, and they both look like the leads in Run, Lola, Run, which
That's
is
wild.
kind of crazy. Same year. Both really good movies.
Yeah, I love Fifth Element.
It's amazing.
But no, I'm definitely going to have to check out Run, Lola, Run. I love that multiverse string theory stuff. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it's quite decent. Again, another movie that if you're not paying attention, you might miss something, because the decisions that she makes aren't really necessarily like major decisions. She decides to stop for 2 seconds, and that one stop for 2 seconds then throws off the entire rest of her traveling across the city.
So you're saying I can't look at my phone while watching this movie?
You cannot look at your phone while you watch the movie.
What's even the point of existing?
You have to watch the movie in order to get the gist of the storytelling aspect and how wonderful it is to follow the actor as they travel through this period in time.
Well, I'm throwing the table. I'm mad now.
Oh, yeah.
Crash. Smash. Ah.
Okay, next movie up we're going to talk about briefly is our favorite Zombieland. I have seen this film numerous times. It's actually been on TV a few times, edited. This is, I think, in my mind, a movie that doesn't get a lot of credit, even though it should. We know that the zombie thing's been done and overdone and, Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, all the spin-offs. But this movie does really capture the kind of buddy flick, the idea that the family is what you make and not what you're given. The main characters in the movie, there's 4 survivors. Tallahassee, who's played by Woody Harrelson. Columbus, who is played by Jesse Eisenberg, who is the narrator of the film for the most part. Wichita, who's played by Emma Stone. And then Little Rock. And obviously the names are reflective of where they're from, is played by Abigail Breslin. Luckily enough for us, we picked this film for a couple of different reasons, not just that it's a great film, but there's a second movie coming out, a follow-up to it, called Zombieland 2 Double Tap.
I think it's October of 2019.
Yeah.
That's when it's dropping. I'm super stoked.
I'm really excited about that, and that was one of the reasons I went back and I saw the previews to that, and I was like, hey, we got to talk about Zombieland. Yes, the world gets overrun by zombies, and there are survivors, and they run around. And this is shortly after the zombie apocalypse happens. So most of everything is still, the lawns have been mowed. There's food that's still fresh out on tables.
Yeah, I think it's like a year, I think less than a year when things go sideways.
Yeah. Something like that.
Because Tallahassee's looking for we're doing plot spoilers, right? Like if you skip ahead 30 seconds, if you haven't seen it, he's trying to find a Twinkie. And I think he finally does. And I thought it was weird. They just didn't have Twinkies in the world. That's cool, I guess. Also, an amazing cameo by Bill Murray.
Yes, you can't forget that
in a ridiculous twist.
Yeah, Bill Murray plays himself. And then dies. But of course, everyone dies in the movies, right?
It's been too long, but I remember really enjoying it. Zombie films as a genre are definitely one of my favorite. We were talking about Westerns earlier, and something I was reminded of, Westworld kind of feels like a zombie flick, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is that that HBO
The HBO
show?
series,
HBO series, yeah, definitely. I was like, this is strange. It's a Western, but it's kind of a zombie thing, but it's also sci-fi.
That's cool.
No zombies at all, but
right.
But the robots or whatever,
they keep coming back.
And
they keep eating brains. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
Spoiler?
And then George Romero shows up. What?
Yeah, there you go. But, again, I really think that this film, while it did okay in the box office, didn't get the credit that it deserves. It does really not take fun at the zombie flick. It does use the zombies as part of the storytelling. It does drive the characters to the actions that they take. But it's not the only reason that they do what they do. So I think as part of the storytelling, it works, as Randall had pointed out, works really well within the genre. Mm-hmm. But they're just not running from the zombies. They have the purpose for running from city to city and traveling. I believe they're traveling towards Los Angeles.
Yeah, they have actual goals they're pursuing. And they just happen to also be chased by the undead.
Yep. All right, so last but not least, we're going to talk about this wonderful film that came out a year or two ago called
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina.
So this is a techie sci-fi futuristic film that is about a crazy, brilliant billionaire who lives on his own private estate, who has the ability and the programming knowledge and skills to create robots. The second, not necessarily the storyteller, but what the story is about is a gentleman, Caleb Smith, who wins a contest to spend a week with Nathan Bateman is the character's name. During the course of just a random period of time in life, the main character does travel to the remote location. He discovers shortly that the only human there besides himself is Nathan. the gentleman he's spending the time with, but there's a lot of other people around, and he discovers over a short period of time that these are all robots, and they act incredibly human-like.
That's awesome.
It's scary in some ways. You don't realize that, he's actually trying to create a partner for himself, but he pushes the bounds of programming in that he's trying to make a robot that's self-aware. Most of the robots follow their specific programming, and when they don't, he dismantles them, recreates them, tries to improve on them. But there's some pretty scary twists in this one, as if you've seen the previews, the robot gets kind of violent. And that's one of the interesting subplots is what happens when the robots don't want to listen to their creator and follow the commands and rules that they're supposed to. So
definitely feels like a modern day Frankenstein to me.
Oh, it's totally
Frankenstein-like. Yeah.
That's how I describe it. I didn't really care for it. I thought the pacing was a little off, and it was beautifully shot. The special effects were amazing. Who is it? Isaac? What's his name? Isaac.
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. He was pretty good. Definitely he's a great actor for sure. But I don't know. The ending left me a little like it didn't really matter.
Like
there was like.
Oh, you mean when Caleb Smith gets the keys to the Wonka factory? That seems really out of left field.
Exactly.
These robots are made of schnozberries. Ironically, I binged this with a bunch of other sci-fi movies like over a weekend. I don't remember a lot about it. Because I watched a bunch of classics that I've already seen, and then I think one of the new Planet of the Apes movies. And I just remember thinking it was good. Yeah. I don't remember what happened, but it was good. I think I liked it.
I never felt like the characters, they never really developed. He was the bad guy, and she was the robot with a secret agenda, and he was the geek who's trying to figure out what's going on, but none of them really learn anything, and they all, I don't know, just landed a little flat for me.
Well, I'd agree. The reason it's on the list is that in my compiling list of movies to binge, I wanted to cover a range of storytelling and approaches to storytelling. And I think this one does fit the classic sci-fi, mad scientist, Dr. Frankenstein trying to create something new.
Exactly.
Told through the guise of, hey, the genre is today's technology or near future technology. The dangers of... And this, the thing is the reason I really like this film is it could actually be happening right now. Technology is there. We have quantum computing. We have people with money out in the middle of nowhere doing what they want with their money, and you just don't know. What we see in the news and put out there on the internet by people, there's a lot of scary things that we think about robots, and then there's a lot of interesting and fun, helpful things that they could do as well.
And then there's videos of dudes pushing robots with hockey sticks.
Yeah.
And then the videos of guys dubbing voices like, oh, come on, Doug, knock it off. Doug, I'm telling you, man. I love those.
I feel like Ex Machina definitely falls into a genre of where geeky guy falls in love with his computer. That's been done so
like her.
Like her, for example, or Weird Science, right?
There we go.
Girl, or there was a movie from the 80s where it's a trope that I feel like it's been done a million times. It's done really well here. But maybe I've just seen it too many times.
I can feel you there.
All right.
So we got our movies. I'm thirsty as all get out. I'm SpongeBob, that one episode where you need some water, but you won't ask for water.
Yeah,
I'm dying here, man.
All right, so quick rundown again. Ballad of Buster Scruggs, 3 thumbs up. Taxi Driver, big 3 thumbs up. Interesting classic film for old New York sensibilities. Run, Lola, Run, foreign film. Interesting story, timey-wimey. We want to mix up and tell you how life can be different by basic decisions that you make. Then Zombieland, a great buddy flick, comedy, and of course Bill Murray playing himself. You can't miss that.
So good.
And then Ex Machina, kind of I'm a thumbs up because I really enjoyed it. I love the special effects. I love these genre of sci-fi storytelling.
I'm a thumb medium because I don't remember a lot of it, but I think I liked it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think I prefer just drinking and falling asleep to this one. The other movie, Electric Dreams. That's the one I recommend from 1984. Take a look at that poster.
Yeah. I remember it.
Remember that movie?
I remember the poster.
Where
I've not seen the movie.
A guy and his computer compete for the love of the same woman.
That's dope. That sounds very 80s.
I think I just described the plot of Ex Machina.
Classic. All right.
It.
So now what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time talking about the beers to drink with these movies. These are beers that are available in the Portland metro area. For those that are in the vicinity, you can find these at most Fred Meyer's or New Seasons or even Safeway stores.
For anyone who doesn't live on the West Coast, Fred Meyer's are like the Pacific Northwest Walmarts. Since I moved here, you guys kept saying, Fred Meyer. What is that? I need a Walmart. I know what that is.
Yeah, so it's like a Super Kmart or a neighborhood Walmart that has all the normal goods and services that you can get at a Walmart plus a grocery store. Mm-hmm. Fred Meyer's a little bit more grocery store than not, but their beer selection, a lot of the grocery stores here in the Portland area have fairly decent local selection.
I'm often not disappointed. If I go in I'm not sure what I want, I walk away with something good.
Right on. So the first one that we're going to talk about is...
This is a go with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yes. So my recommendation is going to be from a local brewery here called Breakside IPA. The overall genre of the beer is going to be a classic West Coast IPA. This one has... Breakside Brewing is located here in the Portland metro area. They do bottle and do a lot of barrel aging as well. The traditional IPA that they have won Best IPA at the Great American Beer Fest a few years ago.
Nice.
So we're going to go ahead. I popped open. We have ourselves a nice big 22-ounce bottle. We're going to pour...
Once I get my helping, you guys can have the other 2 ounces. I know this.
That's fine, okay.
Woohoo, sound effects.
Oh.
Uh-oh. You're supposed to suck on the foam and not let it drip.
I'm panicking.
Put it to your mouth. Put it to your mouth.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me.
The producer, come on, I can tell you whatever I want.
And I can choose out the list. I'm the talent.
All right.
I'm the hard-to-handle talent.
Yes, you are.
I'll be my trailer. Stomp.
Right on.
Where's my trailer?
So, being the beer snob among the group,
I will start. I'm kidding.
we can start. I mean, we can run down this. So, if you each just want to gander at the appearance, we have kind of a very golden, 24-karat golden, really nice, sort of hazy. It's not completely clear.
Mostly opaque.
So you have what's called, you want to make sure when you look at the opacity or how, is it clear or not clear, is make sure you wipe your glass off because you might get a little bit of haze, chill haze on the side of the glass as it cools down.
Or if I've been eating butter just straight and get butter grease everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good idea.
It's on Atkins. It's fine.
All right, so has a really nice, clear, beautiful appearance. The head retention's fairly good. We have some... It looks like not completely white. There's a little bit of off-white going on. We have some large bubbles and small bubbles. We have lacing that sticks to the sides. We also have some, I don't know, I guess you would say creamy appearance to the head. So,
that sounds right.
Creamy head.
So what does it smell like to you guys?
Dibs on name for a brewery.
Aromatics.
It's definitely, does it have a floral sort of, would you call that floral? It's kind of... Yeah. There's a
hint of floral there. Definitely has a bit of grapefruit and grassiness to it. It smells dry. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say about a beer, but it smells dry. It smells like it's got that freshly cut grass dryness to it.
That's not bad. What is it? What's it called? The Breakside?
Yeah, so this is Breakside IPA. Yep. This bottle does not... It has no date on it for when it was bottled, which is unfortunate.
Oh, there's a year, 1872. Oh, God.
So a lot of brewers, and this as a side note, will put a bottled or canned date so you know how fresh the beer is. Because we have no way of knowing if this was bottled last year or recently this year. Mm-hmm. But the taste definitely has, there's a sweetness to it. Definitely dry, grassy, herbal, hoppy up front, West Coast style. It's not as piney as some other beers that I've had, but it does have that kind of traditional West Coast pine approach, but it is not just like sucking on a pine cone.
Wait, this is our Buster Scruggs
Yep.
beer?
This is a West Coast style IPA.
So I'm sipping this. I'm watching Tom Waits. Tom Waits it up.
I see what you're doing. West Coast, Western.
Mm-hmm.
Clever.
Yep. But I also think that
I get it now.
there's a bit of complexity.
I would have waited till like Zombieland to say it.
Yeah. There's some complexity that I think lends itself to the movie.
There's definitely like a splash of flavor.
Yeah.
Like it covers the whole tongue. And then it's gone pretty quick.
And this one the flavors will change a little bit over time.
Just like each of the
Like
six
each of the
bites.
movies. So as it warms up, if you're drinking out of a large bottle like this, it's going to adjust a little bit. It's probably going to brighten a little bit. When you first pour it out, it's going to be pretty tight, but it'll loosen up as it warms up.
Nice. I like it. I can see myself watching this and ranting about how great the Coens are while sipping this.
All right.
So next is the drink for Taxi Driver.
All right. And
Which actually, this is one of the movies that made me not want to visit New York when I saw it. Because I was watching like all the like gangster type movies. It's like, oh, New York sucks. It's full of criminals.
yeah, so this one,
Obviously, it's not true.
we have...
It's also got robot guys.
I'm making a quick note here to myself. I wrote down the wrong one on the list, but we do have from Rogue Brewing, which is a brewery that's been around a long time. They do distribute quite a large distance all over the U.S., I believe. Rogue Brewing does have a few beers that are fairly well known.
I've seen Rogue on the East Coast.
Yeah. So we're going to
no
be
excuses, listeners.
So for Taxi Driver, which is emotionally challenging, heavy, not something you want to just,
Also, you said earlier, Randall, about how Scorsese tends to keep in the reel and the Coen Brothers don't. Isn't it something towards the end of this where like you're not sure if he just dreamt a lot of it or if he's like if his insomnia was making him like see things?
Oh, and Taxi Driver?
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
he's going a little schizo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing that like this is. I don't know what to think now.
Yeah.
Although I do want to watch it again after just talking about it today.
Wait. This is Taxi Driver?
Yeah, so this is a Rogue Chocolate Stout that we're pairing up with Taxi Driver.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I love me some stouts.
So this is a 22-ounce bottle, and again, this one, they do have a description that on the bottle itself. This is a dark, viscous, and bursting with chocolate. This legendary stout will satisfy your daily chocolate craving. Chocolate stout is ebony in color, pours with a rich, creamy head, and has a robust, earthy body that gives way to rich chocolate truffle finish.
It certainly looks that way.
Wow. That's
It looks like a s'more, kind of.
Yeah, I want put a marshmallow in there.
There you go.
Ooh.
So this one...
now we're cooking with bacon grease.
That's awesome. So yeah, this one has some additional information on the bottle. I'll read off real quick. So we have alcohol is 5.8% by volume, 69 IBU or international bitter units, which just determines how bitter it tastes. Not necessarily how bitter it's going to be flavor-wise, but it depends on the type of beer and how your flavor profiles are set up. And this has a SRM, which is the international color palette that they use for judging beer, which goes from 1 to 40. This has an SRM of 125, which means it's really, really dark. And it is. I would say that this has a really nice, large, foamy head.
Yeah, would you call this a hazy?
No, it's not.
Called the hazy, yes.
And that's interesting because you can't really tell if it's clear or not. You can look at the rim and sometimes see once the foam settles down, but we can't really tell if this is clear or not. But it is completely dark.
It smells great.
It tastes pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, the aromatics on this is wonderful. It does have a full roasted flavor profile. The bitterness comes from the roasting. It comes from the cacao flavoring. There's definitely some chocolate malt and black patent malts in this to kind of push the roast. There's some the chocolate malts are just really, really present, but it's a bitter, dry chocolate. It's not a milk chocolate sweet.
I feel like I would definitely eat a big bag of butter popcorn with some M&Ms in it and drink this.
That does sound good.
That's like the perfect combo.
That's a good combo.
Yeah.
And I like how the movie takes place mostly at night, and you got the
Darkest
darkest
thing.
thing we could find. Did I actually help that prostitute or not? Acting.
Yeah, and
De
again,
Niro, come
you know,
back to us.
the idea is why are we picking these beers is because I think we both as we're talking about here and as you can imagine, that you want something that's going to marry up with what you're watching and interacting and viewing and experiencing. And
it should augment the experience.
It does, and it very much does augment the experience. I think coming up with something that's going to be rich and challenging and dark to match the characteristics of this really a crazy, amazing movie.
Because you could ruin Taxi Driver by drinking a Bud Light with it. It sounds like I'm joking, but I could easily, You just watch that movie wasn't that great. Crunch.
Although drinking 6 or 7 Bud Lights
makes the movie go a lot faster. Now I'm hydrated.
All right, so this is the point in time, and I'm going to ask everybody to stop for a moment and take a drink of water.
Smart.
Because as we know...
We're drinking water in real time.
Yeah, keeping hydrated is really important while we're sampling beers. We unfortunately don't have any crackers or anything in front of us to counter our flavor profiles. What's up, Cracker?
Always funny.
We do highly recommend that if you do drink any of these beers, that you, while taking them out of the fridge a few minutes, like 5 minutes before you're going to pour them, is always recommended.
Now, why is that again?
You want to let the beer warm up a little bit, unless you're drinking some crappy American lager like PBR or something.
You always tell me, and I always forget because I've spent so many years just pounding Blue Ribbons and
and if you don't care and you want it cold, you want it to taste like water, go for it. Beers are made to be consumed at a slightly warmer temperature than out of the fridge. So your refrigerator is going to be between, say, 45 and 52 degrees. You want it to be above 52 degrees. So cooler than room temperature. In Germany, you'll see them take a bottle off the shelf and put it in an ice bath for 5 minutes. And then take it out. And that's the temperature your beer should be at when you're drinking it most of the time.
Why don't we do that?
Because we're American.
We
freeze our beers.
Like, none of us been to Germany and been like, oh.
I'm jabbing a thumb hard at Dan because he's
why isn't it like, why don't we adopt that?
So it's not for every style. Some styles you can chill. Most of the lagers are okay ice cold because you don't necessarily want them to warm up because when they warm up they get really grassy.
Yeah,
they're going to taste like they're light struck or heat struck. So while it's advice for ales, some lagers like this next beer we're going to be drinking is a Czech style Pilsner. I'd highly recommend these should be chilled, but you can also, this one should warm up just a little bit. So as you pour it, you can pound this as you want. You don't necessarily have to sip it, but the first 2 beers have definitely been sipping beers. You don't want to just straight drink those. You want to pace yourself because of the alcohol content.
I'll be the judge of that.
They definitely made me feel warm.
Lovely. All right, so the third film that we discussed was Run, Lola, Run. And as I just mentioned, we're going to be consuming a Czech-style Pilsner. This one is by a company called Bowie Beer Company, and they're out of Astoria, Oregon. This beautiful, beautiful, recyclable, reusable bottle, and it does have refillable bottles are reborn sticker on it. They are one of the first breweries on the West Coast in the United States to offer bottle refilling. So you bring your bottles, you don't even have to clean them. You just bring your empties back to them of this beer, or give you new ones. Like in Germany, you bring back your recyclables to the location you bought them from.
Too cool.
So your breweries, if you're buying a rack of beer, you take it back and then you're not charged the deposit.
But then what do I throw at the cop car? Oh, it's just a brick. Okay, cool. Great. Listeners, if you can just Venmo the money for me to buy bricks, that'd be great. Thanks.
So, again, this is from Bowie Brewing out in Astoria, Oregon. This is Czech-style Pilsner, which is going to be a very light and refreshing beer. This is one you can pound if you want.
It looks like the beers in commercials.
Yeah, this is a traditional Czech Pilsner, and a lot of American crappy beers are based off of a Pilsner recipe. There's Czech Pilsners, American Pilsners, German Pilsners, British. Every country has its version of it. Mm-hmm. But the Czech style tends to be a little bit more grassy and a little bit softer. This one is going to have, as you can see from the pouring, this has a really nice white foamy head, very frothy. It has some cleanness to it. Beautiful nose, tastes, but it smells like
beer.
Hops in like crackers, dried crackers. It smells like beer. It does. It has like a hoppy aroma.
Yes, I did know that already and wasn't making a joke.
Wait, Run Lola Run, German film.
It's a German film.
Czech beer?
And well, so Pilsner is based from both Germany and the Czech Republic. I prefer the drier, less herbal Czech Pilsner to the German Pilsner, even though Pilsners in Germany can be all over the map.
You could do a power hour kind of thing where every time the 20 minutes resets, you get a fresh beer of this.
You could. Every time they retell the story or reset it, you should go get another beer.
The movie's only 81 minutes long.
Yeah, it's not a long film.
So you want something you can drink pretty fast.
Yeah.
And this I could definitely put away three
this is
in 80 minutes easily. No problem.
Yeah, this is an easy drink.
Yeah. So this does have a bit of traditional,
flavor.
what you would call noble hops. So noble hops are strains that are from the Czech Republic and Germany and England. Typical German noble hops are going to have an earthy to dry, grassy, or dry hop cone resin. And this has all of those, and pretty well balanced. It does have a little hint of sweetness on the back to kind of counter the bitters. But it is the front and middle are moderately dry. The carbonation is there. Even after pouring a few moments ago, I still have some minor bubbling, which is really nice in a small glass. This one is available in bottles and cans. So if you are in the Portland metro area, you can find it in both formats.
I think that at some point Jason Bourne went to the Czech Republic. I could be totally wrong. But the star of Run Lola Run, Franka Potente, am I saying that right?
Yep.
Are you about to blow my mind?
She was Jason Bourne's girlfriend.
What?
Yeah. You didn't realize that?
That's awesome.
I just realized that now.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Internet.
Yeah, there's some pretty amazing character actors. She is a really fairly famous movie star in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say that every film I've seen with her in it, I've enjoyed, including the Jason Bourne films, because she does play a really authentic character. Mm-hmm. And in Run, she is authentic. It's just the film following her as she runs through the city.
Nice.
All right.
So now I'm real excited because I get to live this out and find this movie this weekend and just go to the Fred Meyer's and get myself a 6-pack of the Bowie and just live this experience.
Right on.
And then tell you guys about it in my drunken state.
Oh, Jason, The Bourne Identity was filmed around Prague.
Yeah.
Czech Republic.
So
Prague or Prague Rock?
Another film that I would drink, or another beer that I would drink and watch that film with.
Nice.
Very cool. The fourth film that we discussed was Zombieland, and the beer that I have selected for us to enjoy with this film is going to be a Helles lager. This one is called Edel Hell, and it is available from Occidental Brewing here in Portland, Oregon.
Because Zombies on Earth is Hellas on Earth.
Yeah, it is.
Bump.
You know the drill. All right, so if you don't ever do this, I highly recommend you start doing it. Before you open any can of beer that's been given to you, you don't know how much it's been shook up. Tap the top 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times a few times, and it shouldn't explode on you.
Whoa, pro tip.
You may run into problems, but look at that. It's just a little foam. All right.
If you have another one, I'll shake it up and we can open it.
We can try and find out. Okay.
Be like the episode of The Simpsons where Bart exploded the house.
Oh, he put the can in the pink shaker.
Yeah, he just left it.
I love that episode.
What was it, like Homer was in a coma? It was like a clip episode, wasn't it?
I think so.
It was early on in the series. Back before clip shows were tropes that I loved but no one else did.
Helles lagers tend to be
Good lord.
Traditional, thin, dry, enjoyable.
It looks like you put yellow food coloring in my water.
Yeah, a little bit. It's pretty pea-oriented as far as the coloring. I'm going to go there. Yes, I did say it.
That's a band name right
It's
there.
It's pea-orientation, yes. So it has a pretty jagged, large, foamy head. Yours has some smaller bubbles, but mine's a lot of foam. It tends to retain it a bit.
Baby bubbles.
There's a lot that does sink back into the glass, but there is some retention on the sides of the glass. That's pretty nice. There should be, a traditional Helles is going to have, so some Helles can be darker, a little heavier, similar to a Pilsner or a Kolsch. But this Helles tends to push the envelope a little bit and be a little bit lighter, cleaner, really gentle aromatics. The flavor should really match up to what you smell. So
if I was a bloodthirsty zombie, I would totally down this.
so this would be like
biting
water.
it, shotgunning it like from the top.
Yeah, you could shotgun one of these cans, and it does. This is a beer that they distribute locally in cans. Again, available at most local grocery stores or fine discount stores, or even you can find it in grocery stores. Certain 7-Elevens and Plaid pantries might even have it.
Quick, I guess trivia about this movie that I read, I think like a year after it came out, and made me laugh so hard. So for a while, zombie preparedness was like the thing at least in the States, culminating, like either being kicked off by or culminating in Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son, writing the Zombie Survival Hand Guide. And it's in the humor section, but it's written like a legitimate survival thing. Like you don't have to reload a sword. Make sure you wear tight clothing so they can't grab. Like it's all legit stuff. And when Zombieland came out, people like zombie fanatics were like talking smack about the movie, saying, "Well, don't double tap. You're wasting ammo. Why would you? Like, these rules are stupid. This rule's stupid." And they're like making up their own rules to go with it. And I was just sitting there like, "Wow, I can't believe nerds care this much about a thing."
Well, nerds care this much about beer. I would want to see a beer list for the end of the world. And I think these beers would be on them. I think if zombies were coming down my street, I'd probably want a few bottles of all this stuff. It's all been really good.
Yeah, and we're lucky
might as well get eaten with taste of good beer in your tongue.
Might as well enjoy it when you go out. So this can was actually born on 6/20/19. So this isn't very old of a can. It's about a month old, right?
We're drinking a baby.
Yes.
Dan, that's disgusting. Don't say that.
Zombieland, also a really short movie, 88 minutes.
They cover what they need to.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson wiping his face with money.
It's funny, they're both running too. Run Lola Run and the Zombieland guys.
They run for most of the movie. Yeah,
this is basically cardio. I essentially worked out watching these.
All the characters in this film are kind of escaping something. I haven't seen Buster Scruggs yet, but...
The one guy escapes a hanging, but then it catches up to him.
What's the last one we're doing?
So Ex Machina. So yeah, they're
escaping the
there's a
trope.
robot trying to run away.
There we go.
Everyone's running away.
Everyone's running from something.
There you go, people. This is your leg day. You're fine now.
Which is
go
a great
hit that gym.
reason to drink, right? If you can't run away from your problems, you can drink them away.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I've heard that. I may have practiced that once or twice, but I wouldn't recommend it for everyone.
Well, movies are escapism, and I think beer should be a little bit of escapism too.
There you go.
Help facilitate that jump into another reality.
Exactly. It's just augmenting my experience.
All right. Well,
about to augment my liver.
Yeah, we're certainly doing that.
Yeah.
Really good beer. I mean, Occidental does some great classic stuff. The brewery is located in the St. John's neighborhood in Portland. They do distribute. Yeah, they do a lot of German styles, not exclusively, but they have. When they first opened up, they made exclusive German styles following Reinheitsgebot.
Bless you.
Which is the German purity laws. They imported all their yeast, grains. Yeah,
that's too easy. But he'd correct my pronunciation is the problem.
Yeah. Awesome. Occidental does great stuff. They import all their ingredients except for the water, which is Portland water, which, as a lot of people know, is one of the greatest beer water sources on the planet. We don't have to do anything to it. We can use it as is. Now, granted, if you're making a style of beer that requires it to be a little harder or softer or have a certain acidic profile, you certainly want to adjust your pH appropriately. Mm-hmm. But for these guys, they can do no wrong. I've never had a bad beer from Occidental. And the Edelhell, while it is not a year-round beer, they do produce it in mass in the summertime.
I'd say the rating it gets is Edelhell, yeah.
Edelhell, yeah. That works. Okay, and I'm making a tapping sound on the beer. Last one is a can.
Stop hitting me.
Ow. All right, so the final film that we discussed, and we're not all 100% behind, but we still like it, is Ex Machina. And we're going to be drinking 10 Barrel Brewing, which is out of Bend, Oregon, and here in Portland. They do have production here.
I'm excited for it.
They have a line of sours called Crush, and this one is the Raspberry Crush. So it's a raspberry soured beer. Mm-hmm. It is classified as a sour ale, I believe. This is a fruited beer, or Basically, it is not funk. It should not have any funkiness to it.
There's no bass lines in this beer.
There's no bass lines or funk in this beer. It should just be
Parliament. There's no funkadelic.
Tart and sour. This is going to have a little sweet flavor to it. It's gonna look beautiful. I've had this beer a few times. The Cherry Crush was the one I was really hoping to find, but I couldn't find it.
As someone who's not big on cherries, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, and I know we don't have a cherry fan here with us, so I'm cool with going the...
Oh, you mean a sane person?
Yeah, sane person, whatever.
I'm really the odd man out. I keep hearing people like, oh, this cherry thing is blah, 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 amazing. Sure.
They make a cucumber variety of this.
They do. They make...
It's the ultimate summer beer.
Yeah, I'm actually not a cucumber fan, so we have not a cherry and not a cucumber, so it'll be hard pressed for us to try those out in the future. But
I like the look of it.
It's a beautiful pink beer. Beer can be red. Your SRM rating on this is going to be odd because SRM goes from white, yellow, orange, red to tans and blacks. This is a rose color, so it's a light red. Really beautiful. Aromatic should be really tart raspberry, which it does have. It has like a raspberry jam kind of feel.
It's great because this is my jam.
This is a really nice sour beer. So the reason I picked a complex sour beer, because it's going to leave a sour taste in your mouth. It's going to leave some acidity.
Like this movie.
Like the movie. It's about mechanical.
Run, Lola, run. Wait, what?
It's about mechanical things. Mm-hmm. It's about computers and technology. And how computers and technology may not necessarily be the best thing for humanity when you take advantage of them and abuse them, like the main character in the story does.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very seductive film, though, and I'll admit this beer is very seductive. I can drink a lot of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is, again, a very crushable beer. That's why it's called Crush. Not just because they crush fruit and put it in it.
But because you can crush the can into your forehead.
You could. And I believe we have, I got to take my glasses off, Best by 8 December 19. So nice. I'm unsure of when it was canned, but they typically don't last more than a few months in the can. They want you to drink them pretty quickly because they don't have control over storage. So they don't want them to sit out and get room temperature for a long period of time because that can let bacteria grow in them. So
bacteria. So if it's the end of the world, make sure you drink that one first.
Yes.
Because even if you make it, it might not be good.
Yep.
Yeah, don't save that one for a special occasion, like when you something the governor.
Like when you killed your 100th zombie. Yeah.
The quinceañera of zombie apocalypses.
So this one again, really nice light beer. It is light in body, but not light in flavor. So it is a very tart, raspberry, fruit forward. It does have a light hit of yeast. The malts are really thin cracker, kind of like almost like a chewy white bread, more than cracker. It's not really dry. It's more of there's some density to it, but it's not. There's not a lot of flavor to it. You let the tartness just float from the front to the back. Does not linger as dryness on the palate. It does linger with some acidity, and it's like eating sour candy. It makes you want more.
Mm-hmm. I can see that's a really apt description at the end there. That makes sense. I mean, you know me, I love sours. I am on board with this one. I was a little sad when I watched you pour the rest of the candy in your cup. Like, no.
We only have one can, sorry.
I'd like to see them do a collaboration with Sweet Tarts.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. I could totally eat just a bunch of Sweet Tarts with this.
Hopefully it wouldn't go the way of the Lucky Charms beer that one brewery tried. That apparently was
foul.
Abysmal, yeah. Because I think they put it legitimately in the mash. Which I heard that, and having known you, Dan, long enough, I knew that's questionable. Why would you do? Why you do?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a terribly wise thing because you don't have control over the cereal. You don't have control over the bacteria that's in the cereal.
It's also not a great cereal.
And it's cereal. And it's just artificial sugar.
Yeah.
So, yes, their point was to make an artificial cereal tasting beer. There are other methods for achieving that than adding...
substitute for milk in the morning when you have a problem.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it. But there are people that have made some really nice, sweet, crushable beers. Mm-hmm. While some people have a poo-poo against 10 Barrel for selling out, I think it's great. They have an opportunity for wider distribution. They can get product when in their brewing process. If you have more people buying product, you can get more and cheaper, and you have a better variety to pick from. So it sucks that it's no longer an independent brewery, I think that they're not doing themselves any harm because they've continued to make good, strong, classic beers. They've done their thing. They continue to do their thing. And still, down in the Bend area, a lot of people give them respect and props for helping that economy, that small town kind of grow up from a small hole in the wall to now a major, brewing center that has, I think...
It's kind of the dream.
Upwards of 40 breweries, I think, now. They have a lot of places to go now in that small town.
If I ever see a Hair of the Dog cereal from them... Beer, cereal.
Burial.
I'm done. I don't care how good it is.
You heard it here first, folks. Find it and send it. P.O. Box.
We'll get to that another time. Once our website's up, we'll be taking donations from people. Maybe not, but you never know.
Oh, no, I'm taking donations. Send me all the movies.
Right.
Just do it, please. I need it.
All right, so...
I'm so broke.
That'll wrap up this week's episode. Did you guys have any last final words of advice to our listeners?
I think, if you're going to binge, do binge this list. This is a good, collection of movies to watch over a weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would start with Ex Machina, though. Eat the frog first.
I can see that.
Not my favorite, because it gets better after that. And each one of these beers, I feel like each one just got better.
Oh my god. Sprinkle the Buster Scruggs ones amongst the movies. Watch it.
It's a brilliant idea.
Watch Machina, a couple of Busters. Taxi Driver, a couple of Busters.
Hey, that actually sounds like a great idea. Maybe we'll have to talk about that in a future episode on how to switch up your viewing habits instead of watching the same thing.
I'll take point on that. Cracks knuckles to the microphone before realizing it's a bad idea.
So, again, thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate your willingness to participate in our discussions.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you for your time. And as always, happy binge watching. And please drink responsibly. Remember to drink a lot of water while you drink your beer, unless you're sitting on a couch and not going anywhere for 24 to 48
or
hours.
If you drink irresponsibly, stay home and binge.
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
Pound a 6-pack of Crush, by all means.
Do you want to pull a taxi driver and punch through your neighbor's drywall? It's not my wall.
That's why they have renter's insurance.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, there you go. And as always, the opinions that we express during this taping are those of the hosts. At this point in time, we are not paid spokespeople or persons.
Punch that wall.
So, we're doing this out of the kindness and generosity of our hearts, and we hope you enjoy it as much as we do. So, again, thank you for listening. Next few episodes will be covering similar topics of what to watch and binge with your kids. Perhaps kid movies that aren't meant for kids. And, I don't know, we'll come up with some other interesting approaches. But thanks again for watching. This is Dan Kopersky.
Listening. We're still early on. These are still the early episodes. We're figuring it all out.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
I'm Blake.
I'm Randall.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Happy listening.
Or whenever you're listening.
Thanks for listening. This has been Movie and a Beer. Stay tuned for future episodes and features to be added to our website and podcast. And please remember to drink responsibly and hydrate.